Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Big Blue News. I'm your host Kenya.
And I'm your second host, Cam. Let's get right into the news.
Recently, the idea of creating a third innovation pathway has surfaced, bringing a flow of ideas to Swampscott High School. The third innovation pathway will be a digital media arts pathway centered on media arts and information technology. If it is approved, it will be started in the fall of 2026. This pathway will be joining the two others provided at Swampscott High School, Advanced Manufacturing, Business, and Finance. Innovation Pathways is a program funded by the state and is an advantage that brings industrial-style work into traditional public schools. According to the Department of Education, Swampscott is one of almost 100 school districts that have obtained the Innovation Career Pathways designation. This is an exciting time for Swampscott High School, and presumably this will bring many more opportunities to the district and students.
The school committee chair, Amy O'Connor, recently resigned after 12 years of volunteer service. According to O'Connor, a small but direct group has been mischaracterizing the financial management and attempting to cast doubt on the committee's work. The group contains people who once held leadership positions in the community who are supposedly spreading misinformation and negativity on social media. Amy O'Connor states that she is unable to continue with her work due to the disrespect she has been facing. As expressed by O'Connor, her work is now beyond my energy level. The school committee is currently deciding on how they will fill the vacancy until the town elections are held.
Earlier this month, town meeting members voted to transfer $720,000 from Swampscott's free cash to assist with the tax levy reduction for fiscal year 2026. The outcome results in a residential tax rate of $12 for every thousand. The five major components of this Swampscott tax policy cover setting the town budget, estimating local receipts, small business exemption, application of free cash, and split tax rate. The Finance Committee Chair, Eric Hartman, said that being able to control the growth of real estate taxes has been one of the main focuses for Swampscott for many years. He also said that this is a big component of how the town is financed. Around 10 years ago, Swampscott was at the fourth highest taxing out of 34 communities in Essex County. Now in 2025, Swampscott is the 11th highest. According to Hartman, there has been significant advances while taking on big projects, making Swampscott a better place.
A request for proposal, or RFP, has been issued to find a lease for the former Hawthorne by Sea restaurant property. The RFP was posted on the town's website following this month's town meeting vote on Article 10, which was approved by Select Board's plan to lease the property while broader redevelopment discussions continue. Town meeting approved by an RFP allowing the lease of up to 30 months. At the town meeting, Town Administrator Mr. Nicholas Connors said that the additional time will help offset costs for utilities, insurance, and debt, adding that no town capital will be spent. The Hawthorne Reissue Committee has voted unanimously to oppose the leasing to the space, wanting the town to move ahead with developing the parcel. Mr. Connors, however, argued that if Article 10 had failed, the town would not have been able to immediately move to action due to required processes. The RFP will close on Friday, January 16th. Mr. Connors said that on December 3rd, select board menu, that the coordinated site visit will be scheduled so everyone who is interested in responding can come at once.
Millions of people are suffering in floods across Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. 1,135 lives have been claimed across the countries, and hundreds of people are still missing. Sri Lanka was also hit by the storm that caused this flood. President of Sri Lanka, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, said that this is the first time the entire country has been struck by such a disaster. Thailand was hit with the hardest rain in the last 300 years. The floodwaters reached 8 feet high and at one point cut off access to a maternity ward that held 30 newborn babies. Hopefully everyone is safe and no more harm is done from this flood.
On November 26, a complex of high-rise apartment buildings in Hong Kong caught fire. The complex has 8 buildings, each with 31 floors. 7 of the 8 buildings were affected by the fire. The complex was undergoing renovations at the time of the fire. It housed 4,600 residents and is wrapped in non-fire-proof mesh as part of construction. According to Hong Kong Security Chief Tang Ping-Keung, this has been Hong Kong's deadliest fire, leaving at least 128 people dead, 79 injuries, and 89 bodies who have not been identified yet. Police have made arrests, where 2 of 3 suspects have been directors of the construction project, according to a police spokesperson. The spokesperson said in a recent statement, "We have reason to believe that those in charge at the company were grossly negligent, which led to the accident and caused the fire to spread uncontrollably, resulting in major casualties." Along with the unfortunate news, reports has indicated that the fire alarms have been failed to work properly, with many residents claiming that they couldn't hear the alarms as the fire broke out.
We send our condolences to everyone who is affected by these tragic events. Now we turn to Alex, who is with today's guest, Swampscott new Town Administrator Nick Connors.
Hello, I am here with our new Town Administrator, Mr. Connors. And Mr. Connors, what have been the most challenging aspects of being Swampscott's Town Administrator so far?
Well, first, thanks for having me this morning. I would say the most challenging aspect is getting to know all of the volunteers and elected officials and appointed officials in town. Jumping right in and getting straight to work, it's been a whirlwind to meet so many new folks that are interested in doing what's best for Swampscott, but also giving me advice and helping me get up to speed on what's going on here. Beyond that, it's just making sure that we are, at Town Hall doing the best we can every day to provide the best customer service we can to everyone that's coming in.
We thank you for your service. How did your previous job as Milton's Assistant Town Administrator help you with this role?
For me, it was a really big opportunity, almost like going to grad school, because I had served in state government and in politics previously, but at the town level, I had really no idea of the level of work each day that went into so many different priorities. I was speaking to my old boss from Milton just a week or so ago, and I mentioned the fact that I had no appreciation for what his day was like as administrator, where I was his assistant. I would go into his doorway, ask him a very specific question with very minute detail, and he'd have a quick answer for me, and he'd get back to work. I realize now how much was going on in the background for him, and it's something that I really have a greater appreciation for now. But it gave me a much closer view of what happens day to day in town, from DPW to fire to police and schools, in a different view than I had when I worked in state government.
Yeah, because now you're experiencing it firsthand.
Yeah.
What are the differences between the administration, Milton, and Swampscott?
I would actually point to similarities, and it's the commitment of the volunteers, both elected and appointed, people that come in because they're interested in helping out with something in town. It's something that, to see how many people are interested in doing what's right and helping town staff do the right thing, it's really heartening to see that. The differences, it's really the geographic type stuff. Being a coastal community here, there's a whole different set of challenges that we face that, again, my appreciation for was very distant when I was in Milton, and seeing those things every day has certainly changed that. But I see a lot more that's similar, and that there's so many folks that are committed to what's best for the community.
I honestly love that. How do you plan to further improve and develop Swampscott in the future?
So my role, and I said this when I was interviewing, and I've said it to a lot of folks since, I think, is to really execute on the priorities and the objectives, particularly of the select board, but more broadly of the town. I think there's a lot of opportunities in town now, some of which were just mentioned in the news update, like the Hawthorne reuse and redevelopment, the Hadley redevelopment as a hotel. There's opportunities now that will sort of make generational change and generational differences. It'll be impacts that we have for 30, 40, 50 years and more. So it's really doing everything I can to make sure that we translate the priorities of the board and local officials in town meeting into action on those items and other things.
That's great. How do you feel about there being a news channel run by students in Swampscott?
This is very impressive. When I came in here, and Joe showed me around when I had a tour of the high school with the superintendent and the principal very briefly, but I don't think anyone was in the classroom or in the studio that day. Seeing this in action this morning is very impressive, to see how big the team is and how professional it all is. I appreciate you all having me, but it's been impressive just to see how much everyone's working.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, and over to the weather desk.
Hello, Swampscott. For a brief overview of this week's weather, as you can see, it'll be mostly sunny this week with partial cloud cover. There's little chance of precipitation until next Thursday, where it could snow and rain. The polar vortex, a stream of cold air blowing south from the Arctic, is still disrupted, which is causing all these cold temperatures you see here. Meteorologists are saying that such an early weakened polar vortex could lead to an especially cold winter. So make sure you bundle up. Now we're sending this back over to Cam.
Thanks, Rosalie. As this fall season ends it begins to become even colder outside. The start of our winter season ushers in fairly quickly for Swampscott High. Let's go to Joey and Yosef at the sports desk for more.
Thank you, Cam. As the winter season starts, it can be a pretty exciting yet stressful time for students and staff participating. Before that, let's take a look back on our fall season.
Unfortunately, our boys football team lost 29-22 away against Marblehead on Thanksgiving. Swampscott did open with a crazy opening drive, and Marblehead retaliated later with a 60-yard touchdown. Many carries were done by Will Bush, while Chase Gutierrez contributed with 3 touchdowns throughout the game. We were ahead until the last minute until Marblehead scored a touchdown to bring the score to 29-22. And Swampscott had some impeccable defense and offense throughout the game, but unfortunately Marblehead slipped through in the last minute.
It's definitely unfortunate to see that for Swampscott there, as I know many of the members on the team, many of the people participating in that specific game, they were really looking forward to that until literally pretty much the end of the game. They thought they had it. They thought they had it the entire time. There were many players who were like very much into it, and I even know that some of my family at home who were watching the game while I unfortunately couldn't, they were upset with the outcome.
Yeah, it's truly heartbreaking to see that like all the effort throughout the game was just done by a last-minute touchdown.
Yeah, but anyways, 9 of Swampscott's football's players have been recognized by the NEC for all-conference offense. Will Bush, Vaughn, Hazel, Noah Bascon, and John Bombarda, they've all been nominated. For all-conference defense, Doyle Delano and John Delisio have both been nominated. For conference all-stars, Chase Gruthius, Jack Duffy, and Luke Michigan have all been nominated. Congratulations to all of them for this huge accomplishment.
Yeah. In other sports news, Harvard football has elected Xavier Bascon as their 152nd captain for the next season. The selection was finalized following a team-wide vote earlier this week on Tuesday. Bascon wrapped up his junior season as an all-Ivy League performer, playing in all 11 games and rushing for 626 yards and 7 touchdowns. He also contributed on special teams, averaging 15.5 yards per kick return. Xavier Bascon came from Swampscott's football program. While at Swampscott High, he set the single-season record for rushing yards and rushing touchdowns with 1,509 yards and 21 rushing touchdowns.
That's definitely an impressive feat that not many on their own can complete, and it's great to see that a player from here, Xavier Bascon, can do this. He does also have a little brother here who does seem to have a pretty promising career ahead of him if he were to pick up football.
Truly amazing to see a hometown hero do this at Harvard at like a higher level.
Last year, boys basketball were 13-8. The team had a scrimmage against St. Mary's last Friday where we lost 38-33, but we won against Lynn English 50-46 on December 6th. Their first season game is against Gloucester today, which is away. Last year, they beat Gloucester 69-41 in their first game, so high hopes. The starting lineup of boys basketball consists of Connor Chirello, Teddy O'Neill, Michael Lutko, Chase Gruthius, and Adam Sparaccio, and their captains are Connor Chirello, Chase Gruthius, Sam Moscoso, and Adam Sparaccio. It seems to be like they're working up to be a pretty promising team this year. They're doing pretty good things, just pretty much all around doing this. And also, I'm very, very looking forward to see how they will perform because they have played in multiple previous years.
Yeah, good to see them looking really confident to have a good season this year. In other news, the girls' basketball team was 12-8 last year, and their first game is today, later in the evening. The team is looking pretty promising this year with Sam Ward as captain and many of the sophomores and juniors from last year returning to play again. There's also many new faces around the team, especially due to it being a new school year and the newcomers are mostly freshmen. But there's also others from many other grades as well. The team is looking really good this year, so good luck to them later today.
I am very excited to see what is going to happen later today because I remember last year was kind of a struggle for both teams, and I don't exactly remember who came out a winner, but all I know is that it was a great game. For hockey, the tryouts for boys and girls are now officially over, which was just originally combined with Salem, and it is now combined with 2 other towns, Peabody and Saugus. Their seasons will be starting soon, but both the boys and girls hockey team are excited for this intense upcoming season. They are currently practicing right now for their games coming soon, so of course, good luck to them this season, but it is insane to see not only just, Swampscott and Salem, who would be the normal people just combining, but Peabody and Saugus joining in.
Yeah, that's a really big player pool. You can see so many talents within that team, and I just know the team's going to be pretty good because there's so many talents from different schools. In other news, wrestling had a pretty good season last year with many outstanding players. The wrestling team is a combined team with Marblehead, where many of the players from last year ended up being high ranks at the end of the season. Tryouts has ended and the teams have been made for this season, and the first tournament will begin with a tournament on Saturday versus Wakefield and another one on Wednesday against Gloucester.
I know they had a really good season last year. A lot of the players that they did have last year, and which were mainly the high rankers at that season, they have been gone now as they were seniors. They have now graduated, but that doesn't mean that the juniors this year, the seniors this year, and maybe even the sophomores, that doesn't mean that they can't, rise up to the challenge and be just as good or even better.
Yeah.
But that's all for sports. We're going to send it once again to the entertainment desk with Rosalie.
Hi all, for this week's entertainment news, the Game Award nominees were announced on November 17th, which has led to a spark of controversy among the fan base. The game Clair Obscur Expedition 33 received 12 nominations, making it the most nominated game in Game Awards history. Which many people love the game, others say it got too many nominations and caused other good games to get excluded. Another notable game that received nominations is Hollow Knight Silksong for the Game of the Year award. However, the developers, Team Cherry, have stated they are not attending the event because they are sure Expedition 33 will win. As of this filming, the Game Award winners were revealed last night, and Expedition 33 won every award it was nominated for except for Best Audio Design, which means it has broken the record for most awards won in one night at the Game Awards. The previous record was obtained at the 2020 Game Awards by The Last of Us Part 2, which won 7 awards. Congratulations to Clair Obscur Expedition 33. After just 2 weekends since its movie theater release, Zootopia 2 has reached $915.8 million worldwide, including $695.3 million from the international box office. This movie will cross the $1 billion mark within this week. It has been marked number 3 in Hollywood releases and number 1 release internationally. It has been most successful in China, generating $430.4 million, making it one of the most popular movies right behind number 1, Avengers Endgame. Many are naming it the best of the Walt Disney animation movies that have come out in a while. This comes as a surprise as Disney has suffered losses on many of its new releases, such as Tron Ares, Snow White, and Mufasa, which all scored below a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. Zootopia 2 has already been nominated for the Best Motion Picture Award, animated, as well as cinematic and box office achievement at the Golden Globes only 16 days after release. Streaming giant Netflix has agreed to purchase the iconic film studio Warner Brothers for a whopping $82 billion. This deal would give Netflix a host of new IPs, including The Wizard of Oz, A Song of Ice and Fire, Harry Potter, DC, and many more. Netflix would also acquire the HBO Max streaming service, as well as both New Line Cinema and MGM Studios. While some are hopeful that Netflix will modernize Warner Brothers and create more competitions, others are concerned that this could create problems for the film industry at large. The Writers Guild of America said in a statement, "The world's largest streaming company swallowing one of its biggest competitors is what antitrust laws were designed to prevent." While many online share this sentiment, claiming that Netflix would have a monopoly on the film industry. Alongside the allegations of Netflix trying to monopolize the film market, many are claiming that Netflix's plan to significantly lower the amount of films that receive theatrical releases would harm movie theaters. Cinema United CEO Michael O'Leary says Netflix's stated business model does not support theatrical exhibition. In fact, it's the opposite. Despite the backlash, Netflix co-chief executive Ted Sarandos stated he is highly confident, as well as claiming, "Warner Brothers have defined the last century of entertainment, and together we can define the next one. It is my personal opinion that this deal could very well kill the already dying movie theater and greatly harm the film industry as a whole." Now we send it back to Kenya to talk about our upcoming events.
Thanks, Rosalie. For our upcoming events, we have a Blue Big Band concert, Duke Ellington's Nutcracker Suite on Sunday, December 14th. Next, the Swampscott Middle School Chorus and Band have a concert on Tuesday, December 16th. Next, the committee meeting on the 18th. Next, the high school has a school DECA field trip on January 7th and 8th.
We thank you for joining us on this episode of Big Blue News.
Make sure to tune in next time and don't forget to like and subscribe.